Chair Gosar, Ranking Member Dexter, and distinguished members of the subcommittee, thank you for holding this hearing and inviting me to testify today. My name is Paige Lambermont, and I'm a research fellow in the Center for Energy and Environment at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, a nonprofit public policy organization dedicated to free market, limited government principles with a focus on regulatory issues. I am also a visiting fellow in the Center for Energy and Conservation at the Independent Women's Forum. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak to you today on this important issue. I have three main points I want to make in my testimony. Number one, power demand from AI is rising, revealing underlying issues on the power grid. Number two, there are legislative and regulatory actions that can be taken to meet this demand. And number three, our public lands and Department of Energy sites can play a vital role in meeting this challenge. AI technology has the potential to solve complex problems across sectors of the economy and create significant benefits, both economically and in terms of human health and flourishing. But as AI technology develops, its power demand grows as well. More than 400 data centers are currently planned or under construction in the US, totaling 19 gigawatts of new power demand. A 2024 report by Goldman Sachs projects that data centers will consume 8% of US power demand by 2030, and that 47 gigawatts of new power capacity will be needed to meet that demand. This new growth comes at a time when existing thermal generation, the dispatchable sources that are available when called upon, is being quickly retired. Between now and 2034, more than 79 gigawatts of natural gas, coal, and nuclear power are set to retire. New power plants will be necessary to fill this gap. The private desire to build this infrastructure exists, but policy reforms are necessary to make those projects possible. This makes it essential to remove existing policies that distort power markets and make it more difficult and expensive to build new power plants. Permitting reform is essential to allow power plants to be built more quickly. The National Environmental Policy Act in particular is ripe for reform, but its interactions with other laws can trigger additional reviews. This then requires overlapping layers of regulation that provide no added environmental protection, but require the duplication of significant work for those looking to develop new projects. Reforming these laws in parallel would reduce barriers to new development while still maintaining high standards. Ideal reforms would be broad-based and technology neutral, allowing new power plants and grid infrastructure to be built more quickly and efficiently where and how they're needed. Additionally, the energy subsidies contained in the Inflation Reduction Act, particularly the investment tax credit and production tax credit, are also especially harmful to grid reliability. These tax credits have historically paid wind, solar, and other energy companies for investment in new facilities and for each megawatt of power they produce, and make it difficult for more reliable thermal units to compete economically. This is because they lower the price at which wind and solar generators can bid into power auctions and remain competitive. This means that other generators are competing with artificially low prices that they may be unable to match, resulting in less reliable power over time. Reforming our permitting system and repealing the ITC and PTC would go a long way toward creating an environment where companies are willing and able to build reliable power in response to market demand. There's a clear role for public lands to play in meeting this new power demand. Co-location, wherein new data centers are sited next to power plants and situated behind the meter before their connection to the broader power grid, has been a common solution by companies looking to power data centers. Because data centers operate round the clock, deals with nuclear and natural gas companies have been especially prominent. Among these are several notable deals. Microsoft has signed a deal with Constellation Energy to reopen the shuttered 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant, a first-of-its-kind action. Google has agreed to a co-location agreement with Kairos Power, a small modular reactor company. Meta is soliciting bids for between 1 and 4 gigawatts of co-located nuclear power, and in Ohio, natural gas power plants are being co-located with a data center park. Technology companies have shown that they are willing to support power projects to meet this new data center demand. Given the popularity of co-location, the Department of Energy released a list of 16 locations that would be prime for partnerships with private companies to build co-located artificial intelligence data centers with power plants. Many of the identified sites are national labs, some of which already host both supercomputer projects and demonstration projects for advanced nuclear reactors. Allowing power plants and data centers to be co-located alongside these facilities would allow for faster permitting and approval of the projects while also allowing for collaboration and innovation. Ultimately, artificial intelligence is a technology that will bring numerous benefits. The disruption of added power demand is something that we ought to work to mitigate to reap the benefits of this innovation. Public lands have incredible possibilities in this space, especially given the unique infrastructure that already exists at these sites. Viewing AI power demand as a challenge rather than treating it as a crisis will enable innovative solutions in this space. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Given Alaska's remoteness but abundant energy supply, do you believe that remote installations of AI or crypto mining rigs could make sense as a way to tap into America's stranded energy resources and also at the same time advance our AI and crypto mining missions?
I'll take this one. Thank you, Congressman, for the question. I think that that's certainly a possibility. I think that co-location is especially beneficial in a situation like that where you've got abundant resources but are distantly located from infrastructure. The great thing about co-location is that it doesn't require the same transmission infrastructure. If the place that's using the energy is right next to the place that's producing it, it creates great systems there. So there could be opportunities for natural gas plants or for small modular nuclear in that situation. And I think that whatever the free market determines there will work, and it sounds like a situation in which the market might determine it works.
I gotta tell you, the data centers are going up right and left. And just to show you how much energy is going, you brought up 3 Mile Island. Somebody did, I know. Yes, you did. And why is that? Can you give me an answer there, Ms. Lambermont?
Yeah, is that why 3 Mile Island's being brought back on and
Yep.
things like that? Well, I think that the interesting case for 3 Mile Island is that when it was closed 5 years ago, it was because there was no economic need to keep it online due to a lot of the sort of market distortions that had occurred before and the lack of power demand wasn't increasing at the time. But now that it is, an existing plant that could be easily brought back online just makes sense as a first resort, right? You already have this existing nuclear power plant that's barely been disassembled. Bring it back online. It's not very much more expensive, especially because most of the cost of a nuclear plant is the upfront capital costs, not the cost to maintain it over time. So if you can bring it back cheaply and quickly, it makes perfect sense as the sort of beginning source. And I think that those low-hanging fruit places like Palisades Nuclear Power Plant, 3 Mile Island, are a great starting place before we get into these building new power for co-location agreements situations.